The world's largest container ship, the MSC IRINA, has arrived at the Vizhinjam International Seaport in Kerala, with the berthing process currently underway. This marks a historic achievement in India's maritime history. This is MSC IRINA's maiden visit to a South Asian port, a significant milestone that showcases India's growing maritime capabilities. The docking has showed Vizhinjam's readiness to handle ultra-large container vessels, proving its mettle merely a month after its launch. Speaking of MSC IRINA, the Liberian-flagged vessel has a capacity of 24,340 20-foot equivalent units. It is 399.9 meters long, 61.3 meters wide, and is said to be equivalent to the size of 4 football grounds joined together. The ship can sail with a maximum speed of 22.5 nautical miles per hour and is engineered to stack containers up to 26 tiers high. On the other hand, the Vizhinjam Maritime Hub is India's first semi-automated port. It is designed to cater to deep water transshipment. It has also recently welcomed MSC Turkey and MSC Michael Capolini. The port currently holds MSC IRINA, MSC Maria Laura II and MSC Monica III at berth. The Vizhinjam port is also expected to accommodate 50% of India's container transshipment, which is currently handled at Dubai, Colombo and Singapore. What new beginnings does this port bring for India? We take that conversation forward. And with me, Dr. Jayjeet Bhattacharya, President of CDUP, Dr. Sharad Kohli, Senior Economist, Gautam Mukherjee, Senior Journalist, and Commander Bhushan Dewan, War Veteran, with us as well. Let me first begin with Commander Bhushan Dewan, if I may. Commander Dewan, if you can, sir, I just explained certain numbers to our viewers, but if you could put into further perspective for the people watching, what does it mean for India to have the capability to be able to handle the world's largest container ship?
Two, three big things, Devika. So far, India has not had a transshipment port at all. As you also mentioned, hitherto India was dependent upon Dubai and Singapore, etc. for transshipment. Now, for our viewers, transshipment means, for example, there is some export coming from Europe, something meant for, let's say, Nagpur, something meant for Chennai, something meant for, let's say, Mundra. Now, all these things which were coming earlier when we had no transshipment port, this cargo had to get down at, let us say, Colombo, and from there shipped in pieces to different ports, Mundra port or, let's say, Chennai port or whichever. But now with transshipment port, which is it's like the railway junction, you can say, in that sense. So now you have a direct flight or direct train or direct shipment of these cargo for various Indian ports. So what happens is this port of ours, Vizhinjam Port, is just small 10 nautical miles away from the main trunk route. When we say trunk route, like in railway also, Bombay-Delhi or Bombay-Delhi flights or Bombay-Delhi train, the big trunk route, huge depth and huge traffic coming from China, Shanghai, Singapore, Colombo, going to Dubai, going to Suez Canal, going to Europe. This trunk route is just 10 nautical miles from this port. So look at the strategic location which we have really, leveraged by having this port up. This port is up not today, inaugurated on 2nd May, yes, but in operation since September 2024. And almost 7 lakh containers have been operated by this port since September 2024. Like you mentioned, Turkey, that was just a month back. And so what happens is that, so you can imagine a huge trade of ours, which was, we had to pay so much freight and to Colombo or maybe Singapore for, let's say, Chennai bound traffic, all that will be gone now. So, we are a large country depending upon exports and imports. So this is a big thing. And in fact, we could supply to other, let's say, Myanmar or Bangladesh or whatever. So this is a big achievement. And second thing is that this is the largest container ship. Turkey was almost as big as this in terms of length and width, as big as this MSC IRINA, Mediterranean Shipping Company IRINA. Turkey was from the Turkey division of the MSC. But this particular ship, IRINA now, which is being docked today and tomorrow it will be there. Now, this particular ship has highest number of containers in the world, even 150 more containers than OCCL of Spain. So you can imagine the capacity which we are able to handle now. So I think it's it's a milestone achievement undoubtedly for us, for our ports. And again, I mean, I'm personally happy about this because I've been senior vice president at Adani Port in 2009, 8. And what I find is, close by in Colombo also, Adani has operated another terminal, CIWT, Colombo International Terminal. So that again has been started really. So it's our Indian footprint is going all over the world, all over the places. In Israel also, the high port has been taken over by Adani. This particular port is a good model. It's the first time of its kind. The real estate and everything has come up because infrastructure has been built by Kerala government. And whereas Adani is operating the terminal operations and cargo handling and so on and so forth. So I think this is a milestone achievement, and I am sure this is just the beginning only. Many more things will come. There's another port close by to Bombay, close by to Palghar. I'm speaking from Bombay, just 200 kilometers from here. Another big port deep seawater port is there available. It may come up. Third, another port is near in Port Blair. Another transshipment port is planned over there, because that is a much more critical port because that is very close to Malacca Straits. And you know how it is, Malacca Straits, you know how many pipelines China may have. They will still continue to have their oil coming in merchant ships, tankers from all over. Oil also, plus, trade, otherwise trade also. So that is another thing on the pipeline. I think the Sagarmala project of ports, which is it's a big landmark in that growth of ours. And we have 22 major ports 14 major ports across the, Indian coast, in public and private included. So this is the biggest one. It's such a great day for achieved celebration. Though it was inaugurated on 2nd May, but we have been, as I just mentioned to you, this has been operated since September 2024. And this is a landmark achievement today for us to host the biggest container ship.
Absolutely. Let me now bring in Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya to bring in some of the economic aspects of it. Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, if you can perhaps spell out for our viewers, what opportunities does this port open up for India at large, and our position in this particular region having this capability besides Colombo?
To answer that, let me put a few numbers in perspective. So this ship that came in that Commander Bhushan was talking about has at one shot 25% of the total capacity of the Vizhinjam Port. So that much could be handled in one single ship and the port could take it. So right now it's the port is supposed to handle about 1 million TEUs, which is 20-foot equivalent units, which is basically a size of the shipping container, which is a 20-feet container. So it can handle, the ship can bring in 250,000 such TEUs, and the port could handle it. The port has been designed for 1 million TEUs, and over the next few years, it will scale up to 5 million TEUs. That makes it in the top 30 ports in the world. And along with it, if you see the other ports that are coming up, that again, the commander talked about, that will really open up the transshipment business within the country and will stop being dependent on other countries. Now, which are the other countries that we are largely dependent on? Clearly, the first one is Colombo. The second is Singapore. And between the ports coming up in Nicobar and the ports that we just talked about, will we really need Singapore after that in that sense? So the need for Singapore diminishes from a shipping perspective. Similarly, the need for the Colombo port diminishes, which has a significant economic impact on Sri Lanka also, because the port business is one of the key revenue earners for Sri Lanka. So it'll have a significant impact. It also protects India from the influence of China, which has been trying to play the string of pearls strategy, essentially trying to alienate the neighboring countries of India and put up a Chinese base in all of these countries. So with these ports coming up, it creates an economic buffer for India and protects India from all of these external influences. And third, the obvious answer also is that the rate at which India is growing, we badly needed more ports. We badly needed to execute. And the good story is that we are following up with that execution at a scorching pace. We have been able to create these ports, which a lot of people had been saying that that's not possible. India can't do it. India doesn't have enough deep waters. And then once we started building it up, there was huge amount of resistance in terms of environmentalists and activists and NGOs talking about how much damage it's doing. How about the 200 or 250 fishermen who will be impacted, and so on and so forth. We have been able to overcome all of this in a democratic fashion. We have been able to overcome all of this in a very transparent manner, taking care of all the concerns that have been raised, and still able to manage and create a very, very large port and a deep water port, which is able to host the largest ship in the world. So clearly, we have been able to overcome all of the issues in a very democratic manner, set up an infrastructure which is world class, and demonstrated within 6 to 7 months from the time it was launched, that the port was launched, that we are able to handle the largest ship in the world. And I think post this, the next set of ports that are going to come up are going to take, accelerate, and that's going to be great for India's exports and imports as we move forward.
Absolutely. Jayji, as you've pointed out, this is perhaps just the beginning. But Dr. Sharad Kohli, we've learned that once all the phases of the port building are completed, the Vizhinjam Port will have an annual handling capacity up to 5 million TEUs, which is 20-foot equivalent units. And essentially, Dr. Kohli, this expansion will require then additional personnel, additional people, more employees to manage the increased cargo flow. So we're looking at adding approximately over 5,000 jobs at this particular single port itself by 2028-29, in the next 4 to 5 years. From that perspective, Dr. Kohli, how critical is it for India to continue building upon this infrastructure?
Good evening, Devika, to you, my fellow panelists and NewsX viewers. I think you spoke of the direct employment, but I'm looking also at the indirect employment this is going to create, because with a port of that size and magnitude, there's so much of economic activity which comes around. You have the transportation, there's a rail tunnel which has been planned, hospitality sector, the local ground transport, road transport, so many things pick up along with this port. We should not forget that the depth of the port is about 25 plus meters, which is obviously it's India's first port, and we've never had that kind of a port here. And the kind of ship that has landed here, I think we've never had the opportunity to have this kind of a ship. So I'm sure this must be a cause of worry for Colombo, Singapore, and Dubai for that matter, because those were the largest transshipment ports around, which were in the proximity of this particular port. So I think the employment opportunities are tremendous. And, an important aspect, Devika, that this particular event which has happened, the landing of the ship, is coinciding with, I was watching Prime Minister's Twitter handle, and this is coinciding with Prime Minister's doing a kind of he's invited everybody on the survey of what this government has done over the last 11 years. He's invited common man to come and comment on how India has progressed in terms of economy over the last 11 years. So I think it's just the right time where people can see the difference. But a lot of people who are civilians who stay and drive, I mean, although India has a very, very long coast, we've got about 7,000 kilometers long coastal area, but still most of the population lives inland. I mean, they don't have a coast anywhere near. So a lot of people don't understand the importance of coast. So I think now they would know that what kind of maritime changes this would bring to India. This would bring India and put India in a different map altogether. Another important aspect, Devika, that, because this is Adani Group is involved in this. Adani Ports is the company which is handling. And this is being done in coordination with the Kerala government. It's a coordinated effort from Kerala government and Adani. So a lot of people, we've been hearing about Adani, Ambani, that rhetoric, which they have been going on about, that Adani, Ambani, and the connection with Prime Minister Modi, this and that, all that rubbish which we've been hearing for so long, starting from Hindenburg and so and so. I think this is a slap on their face. Why? Because one, it has put India in a different maritime map. Number one. Number two, this coordinated effort is being done with a communist government in Kerala. Kerala is right now ruled by communists, and it's been like that for many years now. Now, people who say that Adani has got a connection with NDA or with the Bharatiya Janata Party or Prime Minister Modi, now they have to answer today that how come Adani and a communist government are coordinating for this effort. This clearly shows that the focus is on infrastructure development. The focus is not on dirty politics. The focus is not on dirty rhetoric being built. I think this is a clear message to them. I would invite a lot of people today to come and comment that what happens now to Adani's relationship with the government and with Prime Minister Modi. Well, Adani or any company for that matter is concentrated on developing, whether it's an airport, whether it's a port, whether it is the bridge being recently inaugurated, which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Kashmir. I mean, India today is getting on the world map faster than one could imagine. And this is going to speed up our journey to being the third largest economy and, to reach 5 trillion and then 7 trillion. As for the port is concerned, I think hats off, every Indian should be proud of this port. And a lot of people, I'm glad you're doing this show because a lot of people don't understand the importance. As I said, most of the population lives inland. So they don't understand what has a port got to do with our lives. But little do they know that everything that you use in your life has got a raw material which is either imported. India's exports today are $827 billion. So it was absolutely necessary for India to have a port like this. So hats off, I think a matter of pride for every Indian. And I would like to congratulate government of Kerala, government of India, and of course Adani Port for this achievement, Devika.
Okay. On that note, let me bring in Gautam Mukherjee as well. Gautam Mukherjee, a pertinent point was raised by both Shahid Kohli as well as Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya. When we talk about these large developments, infrastructural developments taking place in India, which really do place us in a different orbit altogether as far as our position in the world is concerned, it also comes with a little bit of an understanding that there are still organizations like Hindenburg out there which could be possibly conspiring as we speak. Gautam Mukherjee, my question to you is, how does India then protect itself and also perhaps the people who are behind bringing this infrastructure to our nation?
Well, Devika, this is our first transshipment port. Transshipment is, something that is required for all over the world. It isn't really a matter of unloading it at the port and then sending it all over India. That may be just part of the cargo. A lot of it is redistributed to other ships that will go off to other ports with specific cargo meant for that port. Now, Singapore handles about 60% of Chinese transshipment and is getting highly congested. It started when Shanghai couldn't handle it, then Singapore took over. So transshipment as such is a ready-made demand area. We have identified the right place with the proper draft. It's a deep enough port to, as this, the largest of ships demonstrates. And we are also in the process of building another transshipment port in Nicobar, as Jaideep pointed out. Now, this means that we will take up some of the congestion and, if you like, some of the slack in inadequate number of transshipment ports in our region. It also puts us in a strategic way in the shipping of the world, because we are side by side, as you've seen, expanding our own fleet of oil tankers. We're also collaborating with shipbuilders in Europe as well as in Korea to expand our own shipbuilding network. More ports are being built. This is really not a Hindenburg type of situation. This is a situation where the center and the communist state of Kerala have cooperated with the private party and built this port in record time. It is functioning very well over the last few months, and now it's been inaugurated. It will soon become one of the landmark ports in the region and should do very well for India as a new beginning in, if you like, high density ports for massive cargoes that can be loaded, unloaded, transshipped, it's a very modern thing. A lot of our berths in the older ports are too shallow, even for moderate-sized ships. So this is the beginning of taking out all these bottlenecks in the port world. And of course, Adani has always been a major player ever since Mundra, and it's commendable that we have reached this point, and I'm sure we are going to do even better as the time goes on.
Okay, I want to pose then the same question to Sharad Kori as well. Sharad, I want to understand from your perspective, what sort of methodology is then required in the future? Because like I said, the more we rise, the more we grow, there will always be people and organizations out there that would want to pull you down, and we want to, of course, keep ourselves better protected in the future.
I think the dogs will bark. We should just ignore the best message. The best way to cross a street where there are a lot of dogs barking at you is to ignore them and keep walking. I think, Devika, there's no stopping as far as Indian growth story is concerned. Well, there are a lot of heartburns being caused around the world, and they will keep playing these dirty tricks like Hindenburg. But I think we came out unscattered. I mean, there was a time we were worried our stock markets came down, a lot of accusations here and there flying around, but we came out clean. The court gave us a clean sheet. Everything was fine. So I think the best way in future is we cannot avoid these kind of messages or these kind of dirty tricks coming from abroad. But what we need to do is to just remain focused on development and growth. And Devika, very clear message. I'll tell you the methodology, the best way to do. Soon after Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister inaugurated the tallest bridge in India. So I think this is the best way to give them the message that you do what you have to do. We will keep and continue to grow. We will keep doing what we have to do. I think that is the best way. Ignore them. Carry on with the growth story. The message for the world is loud and clear that India is focused on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. We are not going to listen. We are not going to be impacted by these kind of attacks. I think that is the best way forward, because there is no other way we can remain. And of course, the other way is to keep educating our people that how they react to this kind of propaganda. So if people become more educated, like the shows you are doing right now, people who are listening to us, watching us, I'm sure they are listening. So next time something of this happens, they will know that this is just a rhetoric. This is just an attempt to derail India's growth story. So I think remain focused, carry on with growth, and the world is going to watch where India is going to reach in the times to come, Devika.
Absolutely. Commander Bhushan Diwan, then from your perspective, sir, strategically speaking, when we talk about, say, the Indo-Pacific region, how critical was it for India from that point of view to have the facilities that it has and to continue building on it?
It's highly critical, undoubtedly critical, but I want to share with you, Shivaji, today is the day when his empire was founded, and he was a founder of Indian Navy. In Bombay, we have a ship called INS Angre. Kanoji Angre was his naval chief who started this. The point I'm making is even this port, Vizhinjam Port, in medieval times, this is a very prominent port. As we know, in Kerala, we have the oldest church and the oldest mosque. It's a very prominent port trading point. Another small thing I want to tell you, the other things about trade, without, even the lot of merchant ships plying, I can share with you from my colleagues who have left Navy and joined merchant ships. When they have to board the merchant ship, they have to board from many places. So many merchant ships which are passing on this route, 10 nautical miles from Vizhinjam, they'll find convenient for the ships to be boarded, merchant ships to be boarded from here. But I must tell you, this particular MSC IRINA, this captain is a Malayali, and he can't come in because still in this port we have not developed the embarkation facilities. That's developing. Another small thing I want to share with you that I was in Cochin while in Navy in 1990, and I found one fine day news coming up: Cochin Stock Exchange has been put on fire. Communists don't want anything capitalist there. And so when this port was coming up, there was a lot of resistance by the fishermen. I think Dr. Sharad mentioned, because, employment stories. But today, the large, huge cranes which are operating these merchant ships moving containers. By the way, the containers, 26-story tall containers in this ship. Moving these containers requires huge cranes, almost 300 meters boom of 300 meters overhang. So these cranes are being operated by women in Kerala. Another thing I want to share with you is that, this Vadhavan port near Palghar, about 200 kilometers from Bombay, that has a projected capacity of 23 million tons, TEUs, not tons, TEUs. So the point is that, I think as you were asking that, what do we do if anybody's, I think jealousy is the best compliment. People are noticing our presence. And I think Dr. Gautam Mukherjee, he mentioned it's not about breaking the cargo to, let's say, go to Nagpur or Mundra. Even let's say some shipper is exporting from Singapore or from Shanghai to, let's say in Egypt. Now it could be, the cargo could be unloaded at Vizhinjam and then sent from Vizhinjam to, let's say, in Egypt. So not necessarily inland ports. I mentioned Bangladesh also, that's another country. So it's a question of breaking it into and sending it anywhere. So this is a huge thing, but look at China. China has 3 or 4 huge transshipment ports. So anyway, we are better late than never. We are at it now. And I think even from military point of view, it's a strategic location because, Bombay port, again, if you see, there is a military wing, the naval wing, Indian Navy wing, warship wing, and there is a commercial wing. So this will definitely come up. These things are not talked about. You know how it is happening now. In the Indian Ocean, a lot of so-called research ships of Chinese, PLAN, PLA Navy ships are coming here, swooping around. Why? Because they come around to see, they want to map the ocean bottom. Ocean bottom has to be mapped. You know why? Because ocean bottom mapping is secret to basically discovering, locating hidden submarines tomorrow. So they are doing collecting a lot of data, swooping around. So this again will be definitely this further up north, Karwar. So this is a huge ecosystem which is getting created. And traditionally, and we all know it, seafaring nations have been rulers of the world. Like Admiral Mahan of the UK used to say, he who rules the seas rules the world.
Yes.
With 140, going forward, if India has to be a global power, Blue Water Navy or Merchant Navy is the way to go forward, and that is where we are headed.
Absolutely. On that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast, for taking that conversation forward.